Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw a couple of events. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw a couple of events happening, mostly the start of civilization. So, civilization started in India. Groups explored out into Southeast Asia, South China, and up into the Indus River Valley. And today we will see uh, more countries, and just more events in general. So if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get started. So the first thing we see happening is the countries will all begin exploring out more around their area or around their territory, especially up in the Indus River Valley. We see this happening as a group of people who are kind of like they want to farm, but they also want to fish. They will continue heading west, getting kind of into Persia, Persindia, over Iran is. Over in South China, see a kind of similar thing happening as the groups move up along the coast. A couple groups will head out in the sea and discover over Taiwan, and they reach up to about right here. With the Yellow Thai team, they will discover the rest of this peninsula, and now they actually discover Sumatra. And probably noticed that I do have stability map here. It's just lime being, or the darker the green is better stability, so the lime team, the blue team, and the purple team. Yellow is kind of mid stability, so that would be these guys here, the red and green teams. And then the orange team is orange stability. On the religion map, we see there are 4 different religions that exist. There's the red team's religion, the purple religion, the yellow religion, and the blue religion. And then lastly, I added provinces and major cities. But mostly we'll just have, obviously, the main layer and capitals. Still in South China, though, we see the South Chinese exploring even more around their territory. The orange team will then expand out into some of this land, taking over all of this and moving up into kind of central China. They will also be taking over Taiwan. And they're kind of getting a bit too big, or some parts, even close by their capital, are kind of getting a bit, or having some riots. But we'll come back to that later. We see this group here continuing to move into Persia. You see them kind of getting around in this area. A group of them continues going. Eventually, they discover the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. They'll explore a bit around the Persian Gulf, kind of getting into the Arabian Desert, then realizing this isn't habitable, so they decide to move up um, through Mesopotamia. We'll get up right in about here. and then form the lime team. The lime team will extend down to down here, and they will have a, their capital will be in this central-ish spot right here. But we don't just see them forming a country. The group that had stopped down here, they will form the Dark Blue Nation. They'll form the Dark Blue Nation, and it will take, or it will claim over all of this. And for their capital, it will be right here. Now coming over to the yellow team, we see them, the yellow team, we see them expanding up along the coast a bit, coming down over in here, and moving down further into Southeast Asia. We come out over into like Vietnam and the Vietnam Cambodian area, or South Vietnam, and begin moving north. They kind of just stick to the coast, and unlike the Orange team, they are still quite stable. The Orange team or the Yellow team will claim over almost all of this peninsula. We take over all of this land as well. And they take over this island. Moving to the purple team, they will expand up into the Gulf, or not Gulf, into the Indus River Valley. They also move down the coast a bit, but kind of sticking a bit more inland. Kind of like taking more inland lands. They'll still explore out a bit more after this. Not because I feel like these borders are really ugly, totally. And they expanded to these lands as well, though. Down to the green team, or the darker green team, they will expand to north and take over all of this land. As for the red team, they'll pretty much do the same, as like they can only really expand north unless they invade. We'll get to about right here. And we see another country forming. This time it is kind of a light blue country, and it is up by Bangladesh. They will claim over all of this land. It's just really it's a group of people realizing, hey, like, we know like this sea route isn't too well known. A lot of people will go through on land, get from the red team to the yellow team, say. So, why don't we make our country here? Then all of that trade has to go through us, and we can get a whole lot of money. So that's exactly what they will do. Place their capital right there. Here. So they will place their capital right here. And move on. But earlier I did say that the orange team is kind of unstable, and that's definitely true. We see three groups break away from the orange team. The first being this northern group, kind of a not seafoam green, but like kind of aqua green, maybe. It, you they take all of that. The second group is a more pinkish color down in these southern areas, kind of by where the capital is. And then the third group is a bit more of a central one. It's this kind of like middle-ish blue, and it's really most of it's just Taiwan, but a couple of these, there's a small bit that are on the main coast. And these groups will continue to spread their, or like spread their, not influence, but yeah, they kind of like, really they're just invading. The blue team is probably the second stronger one. The pink team is the strongest group out of these, and we see that as they near the capital of the orange team, and another group breaks away. This time being a brown group, kind of right here. And we see the pink team move in and just capture the capital. They take over this island. Alright, so here we have the peace treaty. Countries kind of just decided to follow the totally existent provinces in these areas up here. So you see the blue team taking over this, and the central Chinese taking over that. The orange team will remain with most of its land, however, this island will remain part of the pink team. And we see this Vietnamese country forming. Okay, taking a look at the major cities. The pink team will place their capital right there, and the brown team right there. As for the other countries, they don't really have major cities, so their capitals will be here, here, here. Come back over to Mesopotamia as we see the as we see Lime team expanding out through Mesopotamia. They hear about a lot of rich, or some people hear about like a lot of riches up in the north, so they head up in the north to find that. Another, a couple other groups hear about like waters and like fertile soils in the west, so they head that way. And same thing, but with resources and water east, so they head out this way. The group heading to Caspia is the first to find what they were looking for, as they find the water and part of these this mountain range that is there. The second group to find what they're looking for is Caucasia, as they find the Caucasus Mountains and explore, eventually discovering the um, Black Sea coast. I need to fix the map. Alright, the final group to find what they're looking for kind of already did. I already know about like fertile lands-ish right in here. But eventually they come out and discover the Mediterranean Sea and explore along here, coming down, or some of them coming down into Egypt and discovering the Nile River, or the Nile River Delta. They will then move down to the Nile River. They also move down into the Suez Canal, or not Suez Canal, the Sinai Peninsula, just like this area here. Kind of explore around here and discover all of the Sinai Peninsula. The Egyptian group will move along the coast, and we see 5 new countries forming. The first country to form is a red country up in Caucasia. They form around the Black Sea and kind of in the Caucasus Mountains. The second group to form a country is the Caspian group, as they form a kind of tannish nation right here. The third group to forms a kind of darker pink country right here along the Mediterranean coast. They also claim over some of the Mesopotamian area. The next country that forms is another like kind of middle blue-ish. It's like a lighter mid blue. Though. And they form in Egypt. They will expand. They'll claim down the Nile River. And the final group that forms is kind of orangish color, and they form in the Sinai Peninsula. I suppose we give these countries some capitals. Egypt will place their capital right here. The Mediterranean country, kind of Lebanon, I guess. I'll call them Lebanon because their capital is kind of more in Lebanon than Israel. And Sinai will place their capital down here. Caucasia places their capital right here. And Caspia will place their capital right there. But they're not the only, they're not what, or the only thing that we'll be mentioning over here, as the Lime team will expand into these Mesopotamian areas, kind of going out into the branches that all these countries made. And we find, and lastly, we come back over here as the North Chinese will explore a bit more north, discovering this river and settling down in this area. But that will do it for today's episode of What If Civilization Started Over. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.